let's just do a quick invocation. Welcome to the book club. Welcome to the study group. This is a quick invocation to begin. You can follow me or do your own invocation. To the Divine Supreme and Absolute God, we humbly thank you for your divine and priceless blessings, guidance, help, protection, priceless teachings, and divine illumination. To the spiritual teacher, all the spiritual teachers, for the angels and masters, to all the saints, and to all the radiants, we humbly look for your divine guidance, divine help, and protection for their priceless teachings, priceless knowledge, and divine illumination. We thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, so again, we're reading Master Choa Kok Sui's book on the spiritual essence of man, Kabbalah, the inverted tree of life. We are on chapter 5. Okay. We started last week, and it is balancing severity with mercy, Gevurah, severity, judgment, strength. From page 96. So, this is a quick synopsis. So we have many people with us today. Of the book. So this book, it's about the chakras, as it says, and the inverted tree of life. What is the inverted tree of life? So this is the inverted tree of life, and it talks about the Kabbalah, right? This book is using the Kabbalah or the inverted tree of life from the Kabbalah, or the Kabbalistic tree of life, as a way to teach about the chakras and different functions, different levels. Physiological functions, if it's about the energy, if it's about the body, if it's emotional, the mental energies, or about the energies that they have and how they help us with what they're about. So just better understand ourselves, right? So and so as we went, the book is actually talks about each chapter talks about different chapters. So there are how many chapters today? I think we have 12 chapters. 13. We have 13 chapters on the appendix. So we have the 11 chapters for the 11 chakras that are in the body, and the 12th chakra, which is about the unknown, which are the centers, or that are above the body, and we also have not the centers, but the soul, the incarnate soul, and the divine spot. And then on the chapter 13 is about the Kabbalistic meditation. So each chakra, the chapters are arranged in a way that they follow the tree of life, the Kabbalistic tree of life, how they number the Severity. So we'll start 1, 2, 3, then it goes 11. This is a hidden center, right, from the book. So it's the 11th center. So, since we're going in order of descending order, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and like that. So those are the numbers that are following the tree of life. So that's how we put this in. Now, what do the chapters have to do with the tree of life? Generally, when you study Kabbalah, and the Kabbalah, if you go to page 3, right? 2 and 3. If you go to page 2 and 3, if you go to pages 2 and 3, you'll see these two pictures. So generally, when you talk about the Kabbalah, they will show you the tree of life like this, or like this with the pillars on the page 3. So when you're on page 2, this is what you see. And so they call these circles Severity, right? And so here you see that Master Choa put the Hebrew name, like number 1 is Keter, and then underneath it is actually talking about what it means. So in Hebrew, Keter means God, right? And you have Chakra, which means wisdom, like that. So on. And this is what you would see sometimes about the pillars, the pillar of mercy, the pillar of severity, and the balance, and the pillar of continuity. So you see that all of the ones on the right side have to do with mercy, and the ones on the left side have to do with severity, and the balance, all the ones. Now when you go to page 4, right, it shows the tree of life on top of human faith. And this is how the Kabbalists would say that the Sephiroth would be really represented. And then some would say, well, this is how you look at it, or you have to flip it because you're looking at yourself, or when you're looking at it, right? So, but in reality, this is something that they said that these Sephiroth would go. This is how they would teach it. Very, very few Kabbalists, true Kabbalists, understood, right, at the very top. Maybe even very few or still even that this wasn't talking about this. That this was just a symbol, an allusion of how it was. This wasn't how it was. It's just to keep the teaching secret. It's a very special teaching. And so Master Choa Kok Sui, right, became he's a modern founder of Pranic Healing and Happy Guru. So I'm a spiritual teacher. But he starts talking about a healing modality, which is Pranic Healing, and he starts talking about 11 chakras on the body. Now, everybody has heard of 7 chakras. There are 7 chakras, and that's a system. But generally, when people talk about 7 chakras, they talk about alignment. Right? So there are 7 chakras that are in alignment. This is what generally has been given. No one said there were only 7 chakras. Because no one said there were only 7 chakras. They just say there are 7 chakras for alignment. This is true. We said 7 chakras in this room. No one said there were only 7. So, Master Choa comes with 11 chakras, major chakra system. Now, this 11 major chakra system has to do because there are 11 chakras for healing. So, for healing, you use 11 major chakras, no more sometimes. Because you can say that every acupuncture point in the body is a vortex or a chakra. It's a point of force or a vortex, right? But at the same time, there are 11 major chakras. So these 11 major chakras correspond to the 11 separate. So what Master Choa did was he united the two. And there's a great understanding. This whole book is how these two are related, and how the teachings of ancient Kabbalah, they have always they're talking about ourselves. And so that the real tree of life has to do with the chakras of the body. These are the 11 major chakras. Also, the Taoists talk about this, they just don't call them chakras. Why? Anybody know why the Taoists don't call these centers chakras? Because they don't speak Sanskrit. You understand? They spoke Chinese. They didn't speak Sanskrit. So they call them other things. Dantian, really different things, right? So they all have different names. But these are centers that are used, for agriculture or wherever in Taoist yoga they are referred to. They have many different ones in the front and the back. You see on page 9. So these are the 11 chakras on the body, and they correspond to the 11 Sephirah. And generally, in Kabbalah, the tree of life was taught with 10 Sephirot, not 11. There is a hidden center, which was God. And so if we look at a Kabbalist text, it's a Sefer Yetzirah by Rabbi Area Kaplan. I'm sorry, Mr. Kaplan, if I'm saying your name wrong. I apologize. But this is probably one of the. I really love this Sefer Yetzirah book. This is a great rendition of the Sefer Yetzirah. At some point, so here you would see they're talking about the tree of life. Let's see that. Now, if you count, there's only 10 Sephiroth, 10 circles here. It's not 11. So there's one missing here, right? Now, if you see it, if you pass the page here, you'll see that there's one, that circle that is missing is there. And you see that it's dotted. It's not a solid line, it's a dotted line. Right? This dotted line means that it's a hidden center. It's not top. Only through oral tradition, but here they're revealing that center. This text. So, and so that's why we have the 11 chakras that correspond to the 11. And so the book then continues to talk about each of these and the correspondence, not only in the Hebrew tradition, but with other traditions, like the Chinese tradition, Taoist tradition, or the Hindu tradition in India, and the chakras itself, what they do, etc., and they relate to our bodies, physical body, emotional body, mental body. Okay. So we have gone through the first few chapters. We have gone through the crown chakra already. That's chapter 1. We went through chapter 2, which is Chakra, also known as the third eye, or the chakra on the forehead. Then you have the Ajna chakra, right, in between the eyebrows. This is not the third eye. It's this one. Then we went also through the Ad, and this is chapter 11. So we went chapter 1, 2, 3, 11, then 4, because that's how it is in the book, right? We went through the heart chakra. We just finished the heart chakra last week, yes. And now we're starting. Well, we started last week with Gevurah, which is the solar plexus chakra. So we spoke about the heart chakra, or Chasi, right, in Hebrew, is the center for higher emotions, right? Love, compassion, tenderness, sweetness, loving kindness. That's the heart chakra, Chasi. And now we are seeing its counterpart, which is the solar plexus chakra. Sorry, the circadian, what is this? In the mouth of the stomach. If you feel the depression, you see it from the ribs, you start going in. That's where right there, that's where the stomach, that's where the solar plexus chakra is. So you just do a quick review. This is called, in Hebrew, it's called Gevurah, right? And in motion, clairvoyantly, it's seen like this. It looks, like a rainbow. It's a very beautiful chapter. If it were to be still, this is how it would look. Now, we read last week that it has 10 petals. Gevurah in Kabbalah, it says here, Gevurah in Kabbalah means severity, judgment, and strength. And it corresponds to the solar plexus chakra, which is located in the hollow area between the ribs. The back solar plexus chakra, there is a back solar plexus chakra as well. It's considered a small chakra. It's located at the back of the front solar plexus. The term Gevurah or solar plexus chakra shall mean both the front and the back solar plexus chakras. It says here that it has 10 petals, so you can count them here, right? And that it contains red, yellow, green, and blue pranas. What is the only? It also contains a little of orange and violet pranas. So this is very interesting because it basically has all the color pranas in the body, right? That we actually deal with. So the colors of the rainbow, like the same. It does say that more green prana is produced when a person is eating. Why? Why is that? So green, what does green do?
It's
yeah, correct. But it also breaks down.
Disintegrates.
Yeah, so no, it doesn't disintegrate, it breaks down. It helps to break down the dirty energy. So when you do healing right, you see also the green energy, green prana helps to break down. Has it has the ability to break down energy. So especially dirty energy, things like this. So when you're eating, you're doing digestion, there's a lot of green prana. Then when there's bowel movements, right? Bowels move. A lot of orange prana and some yellow prana produced. Expelling, right? So orange prana energy has a lot of it has an expelling effect. That's why. So there's more seen therefore when that's happening. So in that chapter. Now it also says that it contains 10 petals. This is really interesting, this number. Because this chakra affects many other chakras. And it's, as we're going to read today, it's an energy distribution chakra. So, if we go to the page 96, which is where we were, we read about the physiological functions, right? It says the solar plexus chakra, the Gevurah, and the throat chakra of the heart control and energize the gastrointestinal system. The solar plexus chakra, the Gevurah, controls and energizes the diaphragm, the pancreas, the liver, and the stomach. It is easier to energize the pancreas with back solar plexus chakra. This is for healing purposes, right? This is for people that are taking healing courses, etc. To a certain degree, the solar plexus chakra, the Gevurah, energizes the large and small intestines, appendix, lungs, heart, and other parts of the body. Patients suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune ailments, and lupus, erythematosus, have malfunctioning solar plexus chakras. We have also seen in the book that the chakras can malfunction. And they are malfunctioning. This is why there is that healing, so it can help heal the chakras. And other healing modalities can help heal the chakras. Right? So since chakras are like energy centers, right? They also feed with energy different organs, different areas of the body. So when there's a malfunction, they keep them healthy. When there's a malfunctioning of the chakra, certain diseases or ailments can ensue. So now it says here the malfunction of the solar plexus chakra, the Gevurah, may manifest as difficulty in breathing due to malfunction of the diaphragm, diabetes, hepatitis, pancreatic, digestive, and gallbladder ailments, high cholesterol level, and heart and blood ailments. The solar plexus chakra also affects the quality of the blood because it controls and energizes the liver, which detoxifies the blood. Through the liver, it controls the cholesterol level of the body and therefore affects the condition of the heart. The liver is directly affected by the solar plexus chakra. Actually, the tip of the liver, solar plexus chakra, penetrates that tip of the liver. So, as you see, it's a chakra that affects many organs, directly or even indirectly. And it is also the center of lower emotions, as we're going to see today, page 97. So, This is very interesting. I'm gonna just talk a little bit about it here, and then we'll do the distribution center. But the center of lower emotions. So when you have, we spoke about last week and a few weeks before about the heart center, right? So when you say love, we covered earlier today, right? When we say love, let's do an experiment. You guys, some of you have done it. So you guys want to do an experiment?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this. So let's close our eyes, right? Just we're gonna say a few words. You say them with me. Now I want you to really feel the emotion behind these words. You say mercy, love, compassion, loving kindness, happiness. Yeah, where will you feel these words? When you say grace, do you feel this in your tongue? Feel this in your ear? Is there anywhere in the body you feel? Be aware of your chest area. Good. Be aware of your chest area. Very good. Yes. Right? So you say again, generosity. Love. Tenderness. Right. So do you feel that? How does that feel? Good. Right? So you guys feel it here. Anybody else feel something similar? So like this. And chest. Okay, good. So you feel it around. So this is good. Now, if you say, now these are the higher emotions. Do you agree? These are higher emotions. Mm-hmm. What are lower emotions? Healthy lower emotions. Right. So this is what some of them be.
Motivation.
Like motivation. Like strength. Right. Justice. Those are lower emotions. Drive that are healthy. Right. So when you say, now say with feeling, okay? Say justice.
Justice.
Again, say justice.
Justice.
Power. Pride. And then you say drive. Motivation. Where do you feel it? You feel it in the chest again? You feel it here. Where do you feel it? Around here? Okay. So, same? Okay, so this is this. Why? Because this is the solar plexus center. It's there. How come you're not feeling it again here? Because these are lower emotions. What are lower emotions? They're just more dense. It's not the same as when you say beauty, compassion. No. These are higher vibration. They're softer. Yes, sir?
Yeah.
So they might be softer, right? These are a little bit more dense, but they're still positive emotions, right? They're just more dense. That's why they're a little lower. So they're lower emotions. But they are not like that. Now, are there any negative lower emotions? Yes. Fear, anxiety, all these things, stress, depression. When you have stress, you feel it on your toe, on your hair. You feel it on your hair. You feel it also around this area, right?
Yeah.
Stomach, have all this stuff. You're anxious. Yes, stomach ache, all these things.
Nausea.
Yeah. Nausea. Yeah. Perfect. Exactly. So all these things happen with. That's a malfunctioning. When the chakra is dirty, it's malfunctioning. You feel these things, right? So then, that's not what we want to feel, right? And what is the center of our emotion? What happens? 80% or a high percentage, right, of the ailments are emotional in nature. When they say emotional in nature, stress-induced, yes. But when they say emotional in nature, is it positive emotional in nature? Is it because of too much love and compassion? No. is because too much stress, right? So negative emotions can help create elements for disease, right? And as you see, this chakra is connected to so many things. It affects so many other chakras and so many organs, right? So then, of course, we have to make sure. That's why people say, instead of having heart problems or other things, they say you need to calm down, you need to distress. You have anxiety, you need to distress, you need to relax. Watch some movies, go to the beach, do some exercise. This is important, right? Because you have too much stress. So now this is a necessary chakra. And sometimes because of this, sometimes this chakra gets a bad luck, right? And it gets people are afraid of this chakra. This is a very important chakra. It's a very good chakra. It's where it has courage. It's a positive emotion. Justice. You want to be just. You want to be fair. You want all of this comes from this chakra. This chakra helps you in these things. Chakras are not only physical, but also psychological and energetic. So these energies, it's a very important chakra to do something, right? Same in your heart, your higher emotions, right? And in positive way. So, yes. So it's very important to stay calm. Now, so on page 86, energy distribution center. It says, subtle energies from the lower chakras, says the author, and from the higher chakras pass through the solar plexus chakra. Do you guys understand this? So subtle energies from the lower chakras and from the higher chakras pass through the solar plexus chakra.
Where is it? Solar plexus chakra?
Here.
Okay, yeah.
In the solar plexus. Right? So the whole body can be energized through the solar plexus chakra, Gevurah. On rare occasions, over-energizing the solar plexus chakra without thoroughly cleansing first. This is for healing, right? May result in chronic congestion, thereby partially paralyzing the diaphragm and causing difficulty in breathing. Congested prana should be removed immediately. An exhausted person can be revitalized rapidly by energizing the solar plexus chakra. Now this is important. It says, on rare occasions, weariness of the solar plexus chakra without thoroughly cleansing first may result in chronic congestion. What is chronic congestion? You have too much prana. Let's say when you take a big bite, right? You have a big sandwich, you take a big bite, you have too much food in your mouth, it's very hard to chew, yes? That's like chronic congestion, so you have too much energy or too much prana. Prana is a word that means, in Sanskrit, that means energy, right? Life force. So when you have chronic congestion means when you have too much energy, it is hard for the chakra to be able to digest that energy. So it's malfunctioning. So if you have too much food, it's hard for you to breathe, it's hard for you to chew. Sometimes you have to split some out to be able to chew it. So this is what this says. It is important, right? It may partially paralyze the diaphragm to a certain degree, causing difficulty in breathing. Congested prana should be removed immediately. Then, an exhausted person, someone that is exhausted, can be revitalized rapidly by energizing the solar plexus chakra. This chakra also controls the heating and cooling systems of the body. The solar plexus chakra, the Gevurah, can be easily disturbed or imbalanced by negative emotions. Okay. But now, the energy distribution center. Subtle energies from the lower chakras and from the higher chakras pass through the solar plexus chakra. And you can energize the entire system also through the solar. Pass means that they can come through. Also, the same channels that take these energies there can also take the energy, right, to the different parts of the body, to the other chakras. Now, how many petals in the solar plexus chakra? 10. How many chakras in the body? 11, right? One hidden, right? So but not counting the one hidden, you have 10. Not counting itself, there are 10 more. So, interesting, right? So you have, someone had asked me.
Thank you for saying that.
Shana had asked me last week about, well, it's in the 11s. How come there's no 11? Well, not counting itself, there's 10 other petals, there's 10 other chakras. Except next week, okay, so it is very interesting that there are 10 petals, right? And it can reach all the chakras, the higher and the lower chakras, and also all the higher and lower chakras, energy passes through the solar plexus, through all of
Do we know?
Yes, go ahead.
Do we know which petal corresponds to which chakra?
Oh, that's very interesting. I don't know, but there's a book. That's a very interesting question, right? So in the Hindu tradition, they used to assign just like a sound to each petal. So it's all about vibration, right? So when you look in the Hindu tradition, you will see, right, that each chakra, right, this is in this. So I'm showing you a picture of how chakras are depicted in the Hindu tradition. So as you can see here, they're not depicting them how they are seeing them, clairvoyantly. They are seeing them, so they're just trying symbolically so that they can have a lot of information in the picture. This is how teachings were given, and also in this way, you give only those that are initiated who know the technique. Now, but if you see in the back, there is a character in Sanskrit. That character corresponds to the sound, the sound for that chakra. That is what kind of sound, because since they are moving, everything that moves causes vibration. Yes? So each chakra vibrates in a different frequency. So as you can see, you have each one has a different Veda sound. It's a different sound. Now also the petals. It's a book from Master Choa Kok Sui, Chakras. Still, I have had it for many years. So we'll find out. It's very hard to see. I'm going to pass it around and you guys can see it. Okay? So if you look, you'll see that each petal has a character in Sanskrit. Pass it around. That will answer your question. So depending on the frequency, depending on that, you can see a certain correspondence. Which ones are which? Right? So we'll have to study. That's something we can. And maybe when we're looking at other books, things, we can. Then we can figure it out. So, it's not so. That question is not so easily. It's not so easily reviewed. So you might have to do something. I'll give you a hint. Is that good? The hint is already on page 94. So if you already can see the chakra when it's not moving. The chakra stuff, you can actually see through the colors. You can probably it can give you a hint. Through looking at the different sounds of the chakras, not one petal sounds like the other, so all petals have different frequencies, according to the Hindu tradition. So if all petals have different frequencies, are both oranges the same?
One's the higher nature.
Are two yellows the same?
No.
Interesting. Okay, good. Anyways, shall we continue? Okay, good. The center of lower emotions, right? Page 97. The author says, solar plexus, and I'm reading because some people haven't been here, some people they haven't read the book. Generally, is best, right? If you guys read the chapter ahead of time, and I just give you a synopsis of it but for the benefit of this one. So it says center of lower emotions. Solar plexus, Gevurah, is the center of both positive and negative lower emotions. We already covered this, yes? Positive and negative lower emotions. Positive emotions include ambition, daringness, courage, perseverance, strength, righteous indignation, justice, and fairness. Negative lower emotions include anger, irritation, hate, envy, greed, destructiveness, violence, cruelty, resentment, worry, anxiety, tension, fear, selfishness, etc., etc., etc. Right? When a person is very angry, the solar plexus chakra pulsates erratically. What does erratically mean? There's no actual
pattern.
Correct. This causes the diaphragm to move erratically, resulting in irregular, shallow breathing. Right? So irregular, shallow breathing. So why is this not good? Because already, and imagine people are stressed at work. Or they have deadlines or these things to become very anxious. How do you think your breathing is, according to this, through this period of anxiety? Which is, at work, can last like 2 seconds only?
Yeah.
Throughout the day, right? So maybe more, right? Maybe a little longer. Yeah. So if you are a very fast-paced work and you're anxious, you're stressed, how you have erratic breathing, and it says erratic but shallow breathing. What happens with this? That you're not using the full capacity of your lungs, which means you're not oxygenating your blood, you're not separating your system properly. This is not good. It's already causing a situation, health situation for you, for your brain, for your blood, for your organs, for your entire system. Right, that's why when singers, what do they teach singers? How to breathe with their diaphragm, right? To inhale. And it's not like their chest doesn't expand. It's not like you're like this. You're actually inhaling through your diaphragm, so your stomach expands, right? Then you can also feel the top of your lungs, your chest expands in this way, and then that's a full breath. and oxygen circulating in oneself is very important. It's one of the key elements in healing, meditation, anything that has to do with this. Because you're really bringing in energy, prana, life force, regenerating, and it comes with certain incentives. You have to be conscious. It's the first thing that they tell you to calm yourself down. Deep breaths. What do they tell you when you're pregnant?
Breathe. Deep breath.
Deep breath.
Focus on your breathing. Depending on if you're trying to push baby out or not, they might tell you, don't breathe.
Don't breathe. but I mean, do they ever tell you to just breathe through just like this? Through the top of your lungs? Always deep breaths, right? For pain, for anything.
Pain management, relax your muscles.
Yes. So, he continues on the next paragraph. When a person is physically violent, the solar plexus chakra, Gevurah, the basic chakra, Malkut, and the main chakra, Kok, these are he's using the Hebrew names, right? Become overactivated. But the main chakra, the what chakra? The main, the principal one, that influences the other chakras, the Malkut and Kok, or the basic chakra and the main chakra, in this situation, is the solar plexus chakra, Gevurah. By normalizing the solar plexus chakra, Gevurah, through cleansing and energizing, a violent person can be calmed down in a short period of time. In healing psychological ailments, the solar plexus chakra, Gevurah, is usually, if not always treated. When a person is under stress or harbors a deep-seated grudge towards other people, solar plexus chakra, Gevurah, becomes congested with dirty, red energy. Now, this is really important. Let's talk about why does the author bring about these two events. How long is this list for negative emotions? You look, it says negative lower emotions include anger, irritation, hate, envy, greed, destructiveness, violence, cruelty, resentment, worry, anxiety, tension, fear, selfishness, aggressiveness, abrasiveness, addiction, etc. It's a long list. Out of all of those, he picks anger. And then in the next paragraph, when a person is physically violent, he talks about physical violence. So, why does it become? Because a lot of people experience anger. In society today, there's a lot of anger. And where does anger come from? Frustration, anxiety, fear. So, and even though all the chakras become affected, the main chakra that is affected and the one that is treated, he says if not always, also the other elements is the solar plexus chakra. Right. So if you already feel that your breathing is off, that should be
a
hint, a warning. Is off.
Oh yeah.
If you have irregular breathing or you start feeling anxious, it should be you should start breathing. So you don't start getting temperamental or that you don't just you start yourself.
And for me personally, still in school, public speaking was hard for me to do. And I noticed that my breathing would get really shallow right before a presentation. So I would focus on my breathing and just taking deep breaths, like just a few minutes before the presentation, helped me like be calm during the presentation.
Right. Pretty much anything you can think about, you can just apply it. If you're afraid on a plane, like I'm afraid of flying, right? I got to travel so much with the work. You just sit there and just concentrate on your breathing. You take your mind off of the fear. You just do the breathing thing, and it takes away all the.
And the other thing that
your body back into.
The other thing that helps before a presentation is standing like this for a while, and then because
she's standing like this.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's like a powerful stance.
It's a powerful pose.
It's a powerful
It's a power pose?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they do that, yeah. So next time I fight with my husband, I go do that.
Or you just send blessings.
Yes, I think you send blessings better.
That would probably work better.
Yes, it just told you right here. You see, it says.
Love transmutes all.
It says right here. What is it? I just want to read it. Through cleansing and energizing the solar plexus chakra, a violent person can be calmed down in a short period of time. So, and what is another way of cleansing and energizing? Right?
Breathing.
Inhale, you energize. Exhale, you cleanse. You release.
Laughing.
When you laugh,
yeah,
you activate your heart center, and you inhale, exhale, right? You release. So that's why sometimes, so you're either your heart center is activated, or your solar plexus chakra is activated. One is probably more bigger than the other, right? It's not like you can be balanced, but generally sometimes you're doing something emotionally. One is activated, or the other one is more activated. So then you want to. It's not like you can be. You're either very upset or you're laughing. Understand? You can be both. Sometimes one takes over the other. Right? Mm-hmm. So, but it's to be both at the same time.
So you're always trying to make people laugh.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm always doing. Mm-hmm. Activate the heart chakra. All right. So, what are we doing in time? Oh, that's it. Okay. So next week. See, this is why you want like a chapter we get to talk about. Okay, so next week we can cover will center of the masses. I want to do this. I think we can cover will center of the masses. I wanted to talk about this. Right? So will center of the masses. The author reads the term lower emotion, right? It's not necessarily bad. The solar plexus chakra, the Gevurah, is, as stated earlier, is also the center of courage, daring, strong drive, perseverance, and the desire to win. This is the I center, as in I want this, I want that. I need that. To be successful, the solar plexus chakra, the Gevurah, has to be strong. It is the center of assertiveness. Yes? In general, the masses are emotionally driven. The masses, people are emotionally driven. Therefore, the solar plexus chakra, the Gevurah, is where the lower will is located. It is the will center of the masses. This is why in Kabbalah, the solar plexus chakra with the Gevurah is also called strength. In more developed people, the will center is located on the Ajna chakra, Bina, which is active intelligence. This is the will center for the intelligentsia. or the more developed people. Intelligence is used to will or direct the activities of other people. That is why managers or executives in Europe are called directors. They direct.
Can you just take me to that little paragraph again?
Sure.
I got lost.
So,
Sorry.
in general, the masses are emotionally driven, right? So,
Yeah.
what it means about the masses? Generally, masses of people.
Yeah.
People are not generally, they're not very spiritually developed. The masses are generally driven by emotion. All the commercials that you see on TV, etc., are driven by emotion. This is why it says that this is also it's also called strength. Another, Gevurah means strength. Right? In more developed people, the will center is located on the Ajna Chakra, the Dina.
What do you mean more
Right.
developed people?
In people that are more spiritual, or generally the intelligentsia, they're more read, they're
Emotionally intelligent.
they emotionally intelligent, and they can control their emotions better.
Okay.
Understand? Generally, the driver, they have the will center is in the Ajna Chakra here. Now, why? This is also the center for this is of abstract intelligence, right? Of active intelligence. This is the center for active intelligence. Generally, you direct. So managers sometimes are people to do certain things. That's why in Europe, these managers are called directors, right? So that why? Because they direct not only people, but so to create tasks, so things to get done. So through intelligence, you can actually direct projects or direct things to get done, and that's what he's trying to say. So that eventually we want to have our intelligence, our mind, to be the one directing our positive lower emotions, right? Or being able to control our lower emotions so they don't become negative. So this is the goal for everyone. The intelligence is used to will or to direct the activities of other people to do tasks. That is why managers or executives in Europe are called directors. This type of intelligence is called active intelligence, directing intelligence, or creative intelligence, which is different from sterile intelligence. There are people who dress and talk well, but do not produce results. You see, I dress and talk well. You have to see.
Erase.
I didn't say if I produce or not results. I didn't say that. But Severity, I'm just joking. So, but yes, let's produce results. Right? So there are people who dress and talk well, who never produce results. This is sterile intelligence. There are people that dress and they produce results. There are people that don't dress well, but they produce results. It doesn't matter. The whole thing is about active intelligence, right? We want our intelligence to be active, to be creative, to produce results, right? And using that matter so that it can direct lower emotions in a positive way. Why? Because the emotions are like fuel, right? The emotions are like fuel. They fuel ideas. This is how we get things done. We still need motivation. We still need courage. We still need strength. That's why to be successful, the author was saying, you need that you need that center of ambition, of success, right? You need that I need this needs to be done, blah, blah, blah. This we need to align, right? The lower will center, the lower will to do with the higher will to do. So that's the alignment. That's why it says will center of masses, but also aligning the lower will with your higher will. So everybody has a lower will and a higher will. So let's align the lower will with the higher will so we can be successful and be positive. So this is what this is what it says here next. This aligning Gevurah, right, with the higher will, the lower will with the higher will. Although the will center of the masses is located in the Syllabic chakra, Gevurah, a person has the option of following either the urges of the lower nature, or the will of the higher soul. When the lower will of the man is aligned with the will of the higher soul, right? Man treads the path of Tao, or the spiritual path of righteousness. Gevurah corresponds to the phrase, "Thy will be done," in the Lord's Prayer. By meditating on the deeper meaning of the phrase, solar plexus chakra Gevurah will be properly activated. Keyword properly activated. Positive way. The inner strength of the person increases as he is under the influence of his higher soul. Right? So, when the lower will of man is aligned with the will of the higher soul, man treads the path of Tao, or the spiritual path of righteousness. That's above this, so the higher soul. Last but not least, actually, that's we were on page what, 98?
You just finished in 99.
99. Okay, so next week we're gonna continue in emotional permanency. That's on page 99, and we'll probably cover the second pair of complementary opposites, balancing severity and mercy. We'll try to cover that. So we'll do that next week. Okay. But for now, let me show you something. Page 172. And on page number, was it 2? Yes. So on page 2.
Sure.
You guys see this, right? You see the top one says Ain, Ensof, Ensof Ur, and the Tree of Life. So we have already seen what does the Tree of Life really represent? The body, right? So if that's the body, does that mean this is above the body? Yes. So this is, we always go to page 172. So we have this. So above the body, there is the incarnated soul, the higher soul, and the divine spark, also known as the spirit. Or in the Christian tradition, you have the spirit, the soul, right, the higher soul, and the flesh, or the incarnate. So this corresponds to all of this, right? So from here comes all of this. That's why we call it the incarnated soul. Incarnate, right? In flesh.
What is the incarnated soul again? Sorry. It's the that's a chakra.
No. This is a chakra. Yes. This one is only that one. That's the
incarnated.
Incarnated soul. It can become a chakra. It starts as a butterfly, and then it can become a chakra. You know,
what is this part of the spirit? What is this?
This is the spirit. Is this right? That's the direct emanation from the Most High. What does spirit mean? Spirit comes from the word spiritus, which means in Latin means breath. When it says in the Old Testament that God breathes life into Adam, that breath is ruah, right? That spirit. So that's what spirit means, the breath of God, or emanation, the direct emanation from the Most High. Following its Father, Creator, right? It also does the same, portioning itself downward, and creates the higher soul. The higher soul also pours a portion of itself downward and creates the incarnated soul. This incarnated soul then creates everything here. In the Christian tradition, this is called Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the creator of life. Right? So you have also in the Hindu tradition, this is the Trinity. This Trinity is in every tradition. So you have in the Hindu tradition, you have Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. Right? So you have Shiva, the creative destruction, right? Vishnu, the preservator, and the creator, Brahma. So also known as in the different races, this is divine power or willpower, divine love, and divine intelligence. Right? So it's like that. So what it's trying to say with the higher soul is aligning the lower will with the will of the higher soul. So the lower will wants to be controlled by the Ashton chakra or the active intelligence, right? And aligned with the will of the higher soul. So that your direction is pure and righteous in the path of the spiritual. So having said that, I think we're good for today. Right?
Thank you for sharing your book.
Let's do a closing invocation. Say thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Pali. You can do your own closing invocation to your friends, or you can follow me. To the Divine Supreme and Absolute God, we thank you for your great and priceless blessings. To my spiritual teacher, all spiritual teachers, holy angels, to the masters, to all the saints, to all the great ones, we humbly thank you for your divine and priceless blessings. Thank you for your divine light, God, power for the priceless teachings, priceless blessings, for the divine protection, divine guidance, and divine illumination. Thank you for your faith, soul. Namaste, thank you for coming, everyone. Namaste, thank you for coming. See you guys.